Now, another piece of information that came out that got everybody in a big huff, if you will, and oh my god, the sky is falling and everything like that, is that Impact is moving time slots on Pop TV. So it'll now be shown at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States on Thursdays. Now, before everybody hits the big doom and gloom button, or the panic switch, or the little Sue Young reference there for you, or anything like that, there's a few factors you have to keep in mind here. So, number one is Thursday. Right now, you're running against Thursday Night Football. Like, nothing is beating that in ratings. Let's not even try and kid ourselves, right? That's the reality of it all. Second thing is, obviously we've seen a decline in live viewership, although I'm quite certain that if you would factor in things like PVR or DVR, whatever you want to call it, programs, that number is, obviously a lot higher than 170 or whatever they hit last week. But if their biggest live viewer demographic is in the western side of the United States, that means that now their time zone is actually moving towards a more watchable time for them. So once again, in terms of a business sense, it makes sense that you're going to move time zones to where most of your viewers are able to watch it. Conversely, if you're airing it now at 10 o'clock, then you're usually catching, or you're usually only running against the last, 15 minutes or so of the Thursday Night Football game. So once again, you're kind of dodging that bullet as well. Now, do I think it'll impact viewership very much? Not really, to be honest with you. Yes, it sucks for the East Coast viewers, because 10 o'clock now puts you at midnight till the show's over. But that's why there's this wonderful thing called PVR. Now, if you're like me, you often can't catch the show on a Thursday anyways, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of viewership drop-off in terms of people just flat out saying, you know what, the show's not at 8 o'clock my time anymore, I'm not watching it anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to see kind of a shift towards a lot less live viewership, especially from the East Coast. You might see quite a bit more live viewership, however, from the West Coast, because of the time slot change. So it could be a good thing. We'll see how this goes in the long run. The biggest thing for me is that, and I've heard rumors and rumblings, if you will, that the Pop TV deal is nearing to an end, and I'm going to be discussing this in a couple of weeks once I get all the information that I need to run that episode. But I don't think that this affects the landscape viewership-wise for Impact as much as a lot of people think it's going to, and that's just the reality of it all. People are going to be more inclined now, I believe, to watch it PVR or DVR on their own time. They're not missing the program, right? It's not like I said, the time slots change, I'm just not watching it anymore. I don't think so. Also, I would imagine that they're going to be more of a push towards digital services like the GWN app. Now, in order for that to happen, they obviously need to be able to have that Thursday show on a lot more quickly, we'll say, than a week after or 2 weeks after. I'm not sure what the runtime is right now, so don't quote me on that part. But I digress a little bit. The sky's not falling. The company's not imploding. Them moving time slots, it's not as bad as a thing nowadays with the advent of PVR and things of that nature and digital streaming services as it would have been back in the day when, only half the population had VCRs, and if you didn't catch a program, you're fucked. That's the reality of it all. So everybody can put away their tinfoil hats for a minute and, don't start crawling into your bomb shelters just yet, because it's not over, not by a long shot. And I think that this may actually help them in the long run with their ongoing, we'll say, viewership dilemma. I'm not going to call it a crisis because I don't think it is, but their live, at least, viewership dilemma in the United States, not counting other countries as well. Another important thing to mention, and I just thought about this off the top of my head as well, we have to keep in mind that Impact is a tape show. So automatically, whether you are conscious of it or not, you are less inclined to watch the show live if you are able to watch it taped, because it's not a live program. For myself, it's like watching sports, right? Like, I cannot watch, and I've done it out of necessity a couple of times, but I cannot watch a Blackhawks game recorded. I have to watch it live, or I almost don't watch it at all. The exception of that being the playoffs, naturally, but just live programming, like live at the exact moment programming, lends itself to more live viewership. Tape programs obviously lends itself to the PVR and things of that nature. So, and the other thing that we all have to keep in mind too is, yes, it's in a bad time slot on, well, your term of a bad time slot on the East Coast in America. Well, it's still being aired in Canada, in Mexico, in UK, in India, and however many other markets, all at different days in different time zones, and it doesn't ever seem to cause a large effect in those markets. In fact, sometimes when it moves, it also freshens the product up. So, once again, there's a lot of factors here, and I don't think that it's the end of everything, as some of these dirt sheet writers have been saying, and you know, everything like that. I think that it's further from that case. Once again, is it going to affect the live viewership numbers? Hard to say, but for sure it's not going to affect the viewership in general and those who PVR the program. So that's just my thoughts on the matter, at least.